Kendall's Kitchen Live. Yeah, I know you're gonna be my helper today, huh? Oh, thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back down on the floor though, but thank you. She's just gonna hang out there. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Oh, jeez. Sorry, I didn't mute my computer. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Kendall's Kitchen Live. Today, we're going to be making Philly cheesesteaks, which is surprisingly not as difficult as some people think because, again, people get real weird when it comes to cooking stuff to put in a sandwich, and I don't quite understand that. So we're going to get over that fear today, and we're also going to make a provolone cheese sauce instead of just slapping cheese on a sandwich. So I'm going to wash my hands. Since my puppy just licked my face and I was holding her. And then we're going to get started. Okay. If you hear that clicking noise in the background, Panini has a deer antler, and that's what that is. So Josh is sleeping today because he's still working night shifts, and my camera guy is celebrating his birthday, so happy birthday, Nick. Also, thanks for the suggestion for Philly cheesesteaks. So it's just me today and the old setup, but that's okay. We've been dealing with it for now. We can continue dealing with it. Okay, so I've got my pan on medium heat with some olive oil heating up, and we're going to start prepping our veggies. So we have green peppers and onions and mushrooms, and we're going to saute them. We're going to saute the peppers and the mushrooms all together at the same time, but we're going to caramelize the onions. So we're going to do that at a separate time. All right, so first get your seeds out of here. You want a nice hollow, and I'm using my handy dandy scrap bucket per my grandmother's request because she watched my show and got nervous about it. I'm gonna keep my veggies kind of in this slice look because just aesthetically it looks much nicer in a sandwich. So that's what we gonna do. If you guys follow the social media accounts for the show, you'll know that in the promo stuff for this episode, it's playing a lot of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia stuff in the background. And now that song is stuck in my head and it's driving me nuts. And all I can hear in my mind is that do-do-do-do-do-do sound. And the scrap bucket for you. So I'm a little all over the place today. It's because I'm very, very tired. So yesterday, as the final birthday celebration, because my birthday is a week-long event, me and some friends and my cousin who has a birthday on the same week as me, we all went to go float the river in New Braunfels, which if I have any viewers who aren't from Texas or who are and have no idea what I'm talking about, the Comal River float is the best thing ever. Everyone's got music and jello shots, and it goes right into Schlitterbahn, and so you get to see people drop from this giant thing. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, so we went to go and do that yesterday, and as we were getting out, so the organization system is not terribly great for that thing. So as we were getting out of the river on these slick stone steps, some dude tripped and pushed Josh and smashed his toe into the rocks and stuff. And that's getting hot. Hold on. I'm gonna add in these bad boys. Now, I'm taking my pan off the heat so that it doesn't pop the shit out of me, but this is fine. Just to put them in. So we're going to season with salt and pepper, and then I'll get back to my story. Some salt and some pepper. If anybody watches You Suck at Cooking, every time he says pepper, it just makes me want to say it, and I say it when I cook normally, so I'm not stealing someone's catchphrase, I promise, I'm giving them credit. Okay, so we're gonna get this going. And then once we get the mushrooms in, we're going to throw in some butter, help caramelize it. But for now, just get the peppers with some salt. And pepper and olive oil, and let's get to our mushrooms. So anyway, back to the story. When we were exiting the river, Josh got his toe smashed by some dude, and it like instantly turned purple. And we're like, oh no, he broke it. And so the whole drive home, I was like, you need to go to the doctor, you need to go to the doctor. It looks pretty broken, let's go get you some pain meds, you have to go to the doctor. And he was like, no, it's fine. And then like it just kept getting worse. And at like 10 o'clock at night, he comes up to me and he's like, hey, I think we need to go to the doctor. And I was like, you don't say. So we went to the ER on base last night, or not the ER, the like urgent care facility. Anyway, so we went there last night. And we didn't get home until like 3 in the morning, and it was exhausting, and I woke up early this morning to go get the fresh ingredients for today's episode. So if I'm a little groggy, that's why. That's also why he's not in the shot today. But hey man, we're gonna have some pretty tasty food. So I'm not too upset about staying up late and waking up early. But seriously, like my favorite thing in the world is to go to the bakery like bright and early, right when the stores open, because that's when all the bread is the freshest and it just smells so good. When I was in college, for about a semester, I worked at this little mom and pop grocery store in their bakery. I was the bakery manager, so adding to that to my resume. And I get to the bakery like 6 in the morning, and I prep everything, I bake everything, I decorate the cakes. I would just, run the bakery until I had to go to class, and then it was the afternoon person's job. But that smell of bread, like fresh bread, is my favorite smell. I love it so much. And so, like, I'm that weirdo who smells bread right when I buy it. And so I got my hoagie rolls. And, like, the second I got into my car, I was like, oh, these smell so good. And I, like, shoved them up to my face. Delicious. Alright, so I'm slicing up my mushrooms. Again, I like them to be like slices. I want to know, ooh, that was almost real bad. I want to know that there's like substance to these things that I'm eating. I don't like when people finely dice them for a sandwich like this. I like those strips. So that's how I'm preparing them. If you're making Philly cheesesteaks my way, that's how you'll be preparing them too. Alright, last mushroom, and then we're going to kick it with some more salt and pepper, add a little bit of butter, and cook those things until they're all done. More salt, and some more pepper. Ooh gosh, I can already smell the peppers. Smells so good. And keep our heat at medium. Ooh, no! Mushroom down! Let me get that before panini goes. Which, speaking of that, hey, panini! Hold on, I don't know where that is. Come here. You home, dude? She was hiding in the kitty's room. She's not allowed in there. Alright, so we're going to take, come here, come on. There we go. We're going to take about a tablespoon of butter. We're going to add it to it. Now my butter is already room temperature, so it's going to melt pretty quickly, but even if you've got cold butter, that's fine, it's still going to melt. It's a hot pan that you're putting it in. So our mushrooms are already starting to get a little bit darker, which is perfect. Now, I like there to still be a bit of a snap in my peppers. I don't like them when they start to get mushy. I like them, if they were noodles, it would be a little bit al dente. But we are going to cook it till those mushrooms are all the way done. So when we see the mushrooms are finished, then sauteing these is going to be finished. And then we can move on to keeping it at medium heat. Then we'll move on to caramelizing them onions. All right. So while this is cooking, God, it just smells amazing. While this is cooking, let's go ahead and get our onions prepped. So again, we want these to be strips. So I'm cutting off one end, then slicing it all the way down the middle, and peeling off all that yucky skin. Thank you for those kisses on my feet. It was very sweet, panini. All right, get rid of that skin layer. Don't get it on your cheese. Also, don't let your puppy eat it. Okay, and now I'm going to put my onions in a separate bowl to keep them away from everything else. Because one, cross-contamination is a thing, and two, we're caramelizing these onions, we're not sauteing them. So it's a little bit of a different process than what we're doing right now with the peppers and the mushrooms, which are just about done. So I started with the peppers and the mushrooms to get the oils going in that pan, because we're going to use the same pan for the onions, and then we're going to continue that same pan with the meat. So that I've got just a large skillet almost, but here, scrap. But for the sauce that we're going to be making, that's in my deep saucepan. I've got a 2.5 inch deep pan. That's what we're going to be using to make up the sauce. Get all my little nasty bits out. Panini, hey, don't play with the cords, honey. That will kill the stream feed if you do that. So maybe that's not. All right, got my onions ready. These guys are almost done. Back there, just about there. So to caramelize the onions, we're going to use way more butter. So it's that sweetness and the fattiness from the butter that's going to help really get them that nice consistency that we want. In fact, I would just about say that these are finished. Those mushrooms need a bit longer, so we're just going to let it sit on the heat, which is fine, because while we're doing that, we can be prepping our meat. So I'm going to move my cheese over here, so I'm done with this cutting. There you go. Move this out of the way, because always keep your station clean, and don't point knives at people. Okay, so we've got our lean trimmed strip steak, and just like those veggies, we want to keep it in a strip. I'm going to show you a really easy way to cut it, so you're not like guessing. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take my meat and I'm going to roll it lengthwise until it's like one giant meat roll. And then I'm going to start from one end of the roll. I'm going to cut all the way down with my nice sharp chef's knife. And these are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick slices. And these are going to, no, it's fine. And these, you'll see when you unravel them, are these beautiful little steak ribbons. So, from these ribbons, we're going to half it, cut it in half. We want little strips, about, what is that, 2 inches long, 1/4 inch wide. just makes it easier to eat. It's like when we did the fajitas. It's all about ease of eating. It's not easy to eat, no one's gonna like it. Ooh, those onions are burning my eyes now. Oh, I'm feeling Mr. Krabs. Oh, those onions. So, this episode came as a suggestion from my camera guy. But still, every suggestion counts. This episode came as a suggestion from Nick. And so we're making Philly cheesesteaks because I had no idea what to make after the last episode. Which brings me back to, if you guys ever want to learn anything, how to cook anything, as long as it's within my time frame, like to stick to 45 minutes or so, 30, 45 minutes, shoot me a message on literally any of the social media accounts, and hey, I'll make it an episode. Gonna go ahead and take these off the heat. Now I'm putting them onto a separate plate because when people assemble their sandwiches, or when I assemble sandwiches for people, because Josh is sleeping and he's just gonna wake up and have food. I like to have things separate and ready for me to put like as many as I want. I don't like grabbing straight from the pan to assemble. Especially not with something that like we're gonna put sauce over, because even if it starts to cool down and not be quite as hot as it is right now, that sauce will heat it back up. So we're gonna take these off the heat. We're gonna keep this pan hot because we're about to throw our onions in. The smell though, so good. We're gonna take about 2 tablespoons of butter, stick that in there, and a little bit more olive oil, just enough. Drizzle your pan in. And make sure it all tastes good. Oh my god, I love mushrooms. Get that going. Throw our onions in. That smell. I just love food so much. It's my favorite thing. Dump the rest of those in there. Now these, we want to get that nice, pretty caramel color. So we're going to incorporate it all the way into the butter. God, that smells amazing. And we're going to hit it with some more salt and pepper. Get the salt. And get you some pepper. Now, I like my things real peppery, but season to taste, you know? Now, these we don't want to keep snapping. These we want to get soft. So in just a minute, we're going to bump up the heat. And then go back to handling the meats. All right, I've got it just above medium, not quite at high. Let's cut up the rest of this meat, yo. Roll it out. Cut it up. cut it some more. I love Philly cheesesteak, so good. So this other job that I had back in high school, I worked at this place that was essentially the like pita version of Subway, and they made Philly cheesesteak, but they made it with like mozzarella instead of provolone, and again it was like Subway but with pitas, and so it like wrapped in pita bread, and you could customize it. And I remember one time this person had ordered a Philly cheesesteak, and they were like, yeah, and I want tomatoes and Italian dressing and wonton noodles. And I was like, bro, this is not a Philly cheesesteak anymore. This is just a monstrosity. And like, I'm sure it tasted good, whatever. It just, as I was making it, I was like, I can't call this a Philly cheesesteak because it's not what this is. But you know, also, it was a minimum wage job at a place that was like a rip-off of a place that already existed. So, what can you expect, you know? High school jobs, hey. All right, let's get this last strip steak cut. That was kind of big. And then go wash our hands. And then we gonna get to the meat. That little dog has vanished again. I don't know where she is. Oh, she's not getting into trouble anywhere. It is just about time to wing jingle those onions. Yeah, we can finish cutting the meat first. Then we'll manhandle that. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out because raw meat is yucko. Wash your hands because now they're nasty. I don't know where my little kitchen helper panini went. That's okay. All right. Wing jangle these onions. Yeah, they're getting there. God, it smells so good. This is one of my favorite. I know I say that a lot, that like a lot of things are my favorite smell, but for real, onions cooking, fresh bread, like nothing beats that. Okay, speaking of fresh bread, we're gonna take our bread knife, and we're not gonna put it on that cutting board because it had raw meat on it. We're going to cut it long ways. Please don't cut your hand when you do that. Almost like a hot dog bun, because we want to like let it sit in there. And for anyone who watched my my corn dog episode, we're gonna serve them in these, just like you would if you went to like a food truck or something. So we're gonna cut my buns without cutting your hand. There you go. Get them ready. So it stacks veggies, meat, veggies, cheese. That's how we gonna do it. So, while these are already open, Let's get that first round of veggies in here. Veggies. We got our peppers and mushrooms. Oh yeah, this is so good. I'm gonna save that one for whenever Josh wakes up. But pretend like I'm doing two. Get you out a plate for your onions because they're just about done. See this pretty caramel brown color? That's the color we want. It's that smell that we want too. Alright. Going to transfer them over to our second veggie plate. Because y'all, I'm going to be eating these forever. I love leftovers for two reasons. One, it's so simple. You just heat it back up and eat it. And two, I love leftovers because, like, I get to savor this meal more than once. It's amazing. If you've got a little bit of onion left in the pan, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Alright, so we've got our second plate of veggies. Running around. I think I just heard Panini whimper. I sure did. Oh, she wants to go in the drum. Alright. Get our steak in here. Now this steak, because it's real thin, is going to cook fast. I'm going to put just a little bit more oil in here. Hit it with some more salt and pepper. Just a bit though. So most of the flavoring is going to come from that sauce that we were just about to make. So we don't want to over-season our meats and our veggies because that sauce, I'm telling you, is just the absolute best. Well, notice these are cooking up real fast because they're just thin little strips. We want to make sure that there's no heat left. Oh man, now we're getting that meat smell. My kitchen just smells so good right now. I'm in love with it. Everything smells delicious. We have such a good Sunday lunch. Got it just slightly above medium heat. Because you're just getting in the way. Something going into the scrap bucket. Alright, while those are cooking, I'm going to clear my station. We don't need any of these things anymore. That's going to stay there, that's going to stay there. This is my scrap bucket. Move you. Don't need this anymore. Clear space. I can move over here. Alright, so I'm grabbing my flour, my provolone, and my Parmesan. Yes, we're using two different cheeses. And then milk. And my butter. So when we start to make the sauce, we're going to start with a roux. So Gina, if you're watching, it's all that whisking that you love to do. Weird toppings and cheesesteak. There's a place that use... Oh, potatoes. Ooh, that sounds good. Sorry, okay, there's a comment for anyone else who's watching. I'm probably going to say this wrong. Azure Muse says, weird toppings and cheesesteak. There's this place that used to put potatoes in their subs. That actually sounds really good because I effing love potatoes. I like potatoes any way you can cook potatoes. Were they like strip potatoes or like hash browns or like little chops of things? I don't know, you can let me know in the comments. Or in the chat. So speaking of weird toppings, when I was in Portugal, my mom and I were there for like 2 or so weeks, 2 or 3, when I was 16, I think, I don't know, somewhere around that age. And we were like craving American food at one point in our trip. And so people in our travel group were like, oh yeah, hey, there's a place that does hot dogs and pizza. And we're like, that's perfect. All we want is hot dogs and pizza. So we went to this little place and I ordered a hot dog and she ordered a pizza. And my hot dog came to me and it was in like a brioche roll with like a Polish sausage in it with shredded corn and shoestring potato chips. Or not shredded corn, shredded carrots and corn and shoestring potato chips on it. And I was like, this is a hot dog? This is what Portugal thinks a hot dog is? But like surprisingly, it was pretty good. Oh, that sounds pretty good. They commented like a home fry type small chop for the potatoes. That sounds pretty tasty, actually. I'd be super into that. I feel like it'd get a little starchy though, but that's just my personal. Because you've got the bread, then you've got the cheese, and you've got the, oh man, this is already smelling amazing. Okay, so veggies, meat, veggies again. Let's get those onions on top. This is already starting to look like something that I would buy at a fair. The last thing that we're gonna do is get those cheese melted for the sauce. So I've removed my meat from the heat. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna make it, I promise. Hold on. I lost some things. Where's my scrap? Okay. Okay. So we're gonna start with 1/4 stick of butter, so about 2 tablespoons. Get that melted in there. We're gonna bring our heat down to medium. And we're going to do 2 tablespoons of flour. So we've got 1, and we're gonna get our whisk, because again, we're making a roux. Man, potatoes on a Philly cheesesteak, that sounds awesome. I wanna try that now. All right, so we've got 1 tablespoon in, ooh, I'm not left-handed. Keep whisking, and whisking, whisking, whisking. That was like a tablespoon and a half, actually, I lied. Tablespoon and a half will be fine. So we do want just under medium, around a low heat for this because we don't want it to burn. This and the cheese and the milk are going to be what gives this sauce its thickness. So we are not going to stop whisking because we don't want it to burn and get all weird shaped. We're going to add roughly 2 cups of milk. We're going to keep on whisking, and I need to switch hands because I'm not left on it. That was about 1/4 cup. That's about the cup that we're at. And that's about 2 cups. There we go. All right. So we don't want to stop whisking at this point, or else we're gonna make like cheese curds and it's gonna get real gross. It was too mushy for me. Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. I think the potatoes would make it too Oh, I'm sorry, Panini. I think the potatoes would make it a little starchy, but I also love potatoes and I'm someone who's like, you should try everything once. But yeah, Portugal was great. The food there was amazing. So this hostel that we stayed at, they would make a homemade, or it wasn't a hostel. It was like a mom and pop bed and breakfast almost, and it was this tiny little strip, like literally in what we would consider an alley. It was this tiny, tiny, tiny little section, and it was a full like 6-story building. And so the owner and his mother would make like homemade dinner every night for us, and we'd all eat in the dining room in the lowest level. And every single night, because there are sheep everywhere in Portugal, and I love lamb. It's one of my favorite things. And so every single night when the red wine would come out, I was like, oh yeah, we have lamb tonight. And it was never lamb. It was always pork, or it was a meat, or it was a fish that you could pair with red wine. And I was always so disappointed because I was like, I see sheep everywhere. Why don't you people eat them? And we had gone to, where was it? Let's see. We went to Lisbon, Fatima, and Nazaré, I think, when we were there. I'm just doing salt and pepper again in the sauce. And while we were there, we had gone to this one place that was like specifically known for sheep and all the sheep that were in that city. And like we're walking around and there's statues of shepherds and sheep everywhere, and there's sheep just wandering around like the main roads. And I was like, why are we not eating them? They're so good. And someone explained to me, they were like, because like shepherds and the symbolism of the shepherd and the religious history of Portugal is so important, we don't really eat sheep that much. And I was like, that's a shame, man, because they're so, so tasty. I'm gonna grab the kale soup. That's my favorite. Oh, hey. Hey, yeah, you should totally hunt down your family tree. That'd be awesome. So for anybody watching later, I grew up with kale soup, breads. My family is part Portuguese. The family tree, something I'd love to hunt down. Yeah, dude, do it. Oh my God. See, they had a lot of really brothy soups in Portugal, which again, like I was into. The food there was phenomenal. I wanted to see some of that lamb, man. Okay, so now that everything is getting nice and thick, we've essentially created a bechamel sauce at this point. We're gonna add in all this cheese. So I have this as deli sliced cheese. You can really use any kind of, I mean, if you just have a block of provolone, go for it. I like to buy the expensive bougie cheese because I just love cheese so much. I got a pound of provolone. There's no way we're gonna use a pound of provolone, but I'm gonna reuse this sauce for everything. In fact, I'm probably gonna put it over some like scallop potatoes tomorrow. We wanna get this nice and gooey and cheesy. It should almost feel like a cheese gravy, because we're just gonna drench this sandwich in it. It's gonna be amazing. Ooh, it just smells so good, and it's starting to get that like goopy, cheesy deliciousness. All right, we are going to taste it along the way, make sure it's coming out the way we like, because we always want to be testing our food as we're cooking it. Again, to make sure that those flavors are developing the way that you want them to. So you should have your tasting spoons ready with you. Typically, I'll get out little plastic spoons and keep them over here so I can taste test stuff and not like contaminate everything, but it's just me eating right now, so I'm just gonna use the same spoon that I used for the flour. Oh yeah. Oh man, that smells amazing. Could make kale soup, that's me. Ooh. You should. Hey, you know what? On the social medias, on everything is at Ken Kitchen Live. Post your kale soup recipe and I'll see if I can recreate it. That'd be a lot of fun. I apologize if I don't make it right, but you share it, I'll make it. I'll credit you, I'll tag you and everything. It'll be a lot of fun. Oh yeah. I'm gonna put in some more cheese though. It's not quite the consistency I'd like yet, but the flavors are all there. All right, and I'm gonna grate some fresh Parmesan in this too. nice and cheesy. Hey, yeah! Yeah, you can post it to Facebook if you look at Kendall's Kitchen Live. It's got that little blue icon. Or send me like a PM in Twitter with the recipe. Shoot, I could even make it next week. Because I have no idea what I'm going to cook next week. So I'd love to make your kale soup. It'd be a lot of fun. All right. Let's get this all incorporated. Panini, does it smell good? She's just looking for scraps of cheese that fell. All right, I got this on a low heat right now. We're gonna let it simmer and thicken just a bit more. Because again, we have essentially just created a cheesy bechamel sauce. Or bechamel, depending on how bougie you want to say it. I'm gonna get some more of this delicious, delicious provolone. So the lady at the deli counter, when I was asking for a pound of provolone, she was like, how do you want it cut? And I was like, I really prefer it not cut. If you could just give me like a block of provolone. Because ideally I would have this either cubed or shredded to melt down into a sauce. But she was like, lady, you're at the deli. And I was like, yeah, but like I'm not going to use it for sandwiches. Well, I am going to use it for sandwiches, but not the way that you think I'm going to be using it for sandwiches. And she was like, so thin cut? And I was like, yeah, thin cut. All right, it's getting nice and thick. That just ooey gooiness. Now again, if you're tasting at home and you're cooking for people, maybe use a different spoon, but it's just me and my boyfriend, so it's fine. But, oh God, it's hot. Ow. Okay, it's good though. Oh yeah, tastes amazing. All right, I'm gonna kill the heat, and I'm going to get, this is gonna be a nightmare to eat, as in it's gonna be a right mess. All right. Ooh, that burned the crap out of me. Get this sauce. Just pour it straight over top. Oh my God. This is the sandwich to end all sandwiches. Look at that. That is amazing. Oh man, I'm gonna have such a good lunch. I'm gonna have to eat this with a fork and a knife though. In fact, I'm probably not gonna eat it in this at all. I would take a bite on camera, but I think it would get all over me. So anyway, that's how you make a Philly cheesesteak my way. Thank you for cooking with us. I really appreciate when people watch, and I especially love all the activity in the comment section. Thanks, guys. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and follow me on all those social media accounts. If you also made Philly cheesesteak with me, post your pictures. I love to see what you guys are making. Everything is at Ken Kitchen Live. Sometimes there's an underscore, sometimes there's not, but look it up, you'll find me. It's that cute little blue icon, the same as the Twitch one. Anyway, I will see you guys next week when I'll be making that super tasty sounding kale soup. Ooh, that sounds really good and healthy. All right, bye you guys. Say bye, Panini. Okay, she said goodbye. Bye.